all set to begin whenever you're ready.
Great, thank you very much. Thank you all again for your patience. We had a large room of folks to check in for the hearings today. I'd like to call the meeting.
Zoom. Enter your meeting ID followed by pound.
Okay, that's a little odd. I'd like to call the meeting of Tuesday, February 18th, 2025 to order. Acting under the provisions of the Code of the Town of Barnstable, Chapters 112-1 through 112-7.
Participant ID followed by pound. Otherwise, just press pound to continue.
The historical.
You are in the meeting now. There are more than 30 participants in the meeting.
Jack,
You
can
haven't
you
been
mute
added
yourself
to the
there?
waiting room. You cannot talk
hear
or
us.
listen until the host admits you to the meeting.
Can't hear us.
I'll try again here. The Historical Commission will hold a
You
public.
are muted. You can mute or You are now in the You are muted.
Got it. The Historical Commission will hold a public hearing on the following applications. These applications have been determined significant and referred to a public hearing. This meeting of the Barnstable Historical Commission is being recorded and broadcast on the Town of Barnstable's Government Access Channel. In accordance with Mass General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 20, the chair must inquire whether anyone else is recording this meeting, and if so, please make their presence known. Anyone doing any recording of the meeting that we should know about? I see none. Thank you. We ask that during the afternoon's proceedings, cell phones be turned off and conversations other than those before the commission take place outside the remote meeting. When an application is called, we ask the applicant and all interested parties and the abutters to identify themselves. Lastly, as a best practice for meetings held remotely where we may not be able to visually identify who is speaking on every occasion, we ask all commission members and participants to identify themselves before making any motion or comment. Online audience members wishing to participate during the public comment section of a hearing can use the raise hand button to notify the chair. Dial-in audience members wishing to participate during the public comment section of a hearing should press *9 on their phone to notify the chair. All participants will be muted. You must be recognized by the chair to participate. Thank you. First order of business is to call attendance, a roll call. Nancy Shoemaker?
Here.
Cheryl Powell, I think is not here. All right. Jack Kay. Jack Kay, are you here? I see you.
I'm here.
There you go. Thank you, sir. Barbara DiBiase.
I'm here.
Thank you. John Richmond. John Richmond.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, John. Thank you. And Robert Frazee here. Thank you all very much. Now to the agenda. The first application for today is Kimberly Hunsaker, 353 Ocean Street, Hyannis, map 325, parcel 015, build 1846. Partial demolition, construct addition of a porch and sunroom, update siding, trim, windows, doors, and roof. If the applicant and others associated with this application would please come forward, unmute yourselves, and kindly make yourselves known, that would be greatly appreciated.
Here.
Here. Hi, thank you. If one of you would like to kind of take us through the plan of action here, and Corey can help with the illustrations, that would be fantastic.
Would like me to go or would like to introduce a kid?
No, you should do it.
Alright.
These are your words.
Yeah, so pretty much what we're trying to do with this project is that upgrade the whole exterior because it really needs it. The house hasn't had any exterior work done for a while, so in terms of falling apart, siding, roof, all needs some upgrade. And Kim pretty much has inherited, Kim and Phil inherited this from, it's a past generation home, and they'd like to do a little update, obviously, but then do a little bit of a change on the exterior part of it, bringing it into coming from a regular siding, as you can see on the picture now, to a vertical clapboard siding, which is one of the reasons why we're here. as building out in the front porch, a little bit of a farmer's porch there as well, for two people sitting just for an entrance, so we're not, when rain is coming through, you're not opening the door and getting water in your head and snow in your head and all that, pretty much. And that's the main thing. Roof will remain the same, style, shingled roof, siding, of course, removing the windows and upgrading all the wood to PVC, but same style, same look. Yeah, the plan, as you can see there, that's what we're trying to build, is pretty much a front porch, and in the back, we're adding on an area, three-season room with a deck on top to take advantage of the view of the marsh that they have in the back room. And that's pretty much the whole project plan that we have going on. As you can see on the drawing there that we're putting through. That's how we like. I even added on the drawings itself, kind of like the view from what it look like as a finished grade, as close as possible. Obviously, it'll look much better when it's done. But it's that's pretty much what the plan is.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other comments from the proponents to begin with as part of the presentation? Are we?
Well, I wanted to just sort of throw in that, again, as Tulio mentioned it, the house has been in my grandfather's family since it was built in 1846, and my husband and I inherited it through my mom. And one of the other things that we're going to do is a major mitigation of all of the invasive species in the back near the marsh, so that we can sort of reestablish native planting and all that kind of stuff. So we're trying to heal the sort of abuse that happened through after my grandfather's death until we were able to take possession, and we're excited to sort of preserve it for our kids and beyond. And and we're kind of excited to work with Tulio to do all this stuff to get it kind of back to healthy use. So.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
I just realized I am remiss as chair not to have formally opened the public hearing, and I apologize for that. I don't think any harm is done here, but I would like to request a motion to open the public hearing.
I move that we open the public hearing.
Nancy Shoemaker, thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Jack Kay. It needs to be a roll call since it's a Zoom. All in favor of opening the public hearing, Nancy Shoemaker,
Aye.
Jack Kay,
Aye.
Barbara DiBiase,
Yes.
John Richmond,
Yes.
Robert Frazee, yes. Thank you all for bearing with me. I apologize again for not doing that properly up front. Commissioners, do any of you have any thoughts or comments initially before we open it up to other members of the public to discuss this?
May I see the photograph of the property, please? It was scrolling through so quickly that I didn't really have a good handle.
Up at the top of the program, as they say.
Okay. So the porch would be in the front where this front door is?
Yes.
That's my understanding, yes. And the other change you're proposing is at the rear, and where this photo is, you'll have a different porch at the back.
Right.
You got it. So pretty much the three-season room with the deck on top, and a
Right.
slider coming out of that, the triple window right there. That'll be the slider to a deck on the second kind of floor kind of look.
My quick impression is that those features will not be especially visible from the street or public ways nearby. I'm a little less focused, personally less focused on that than on the facade and the porch. Not that I necessarily have any objection to that, but that was one of the things that I thought was significant as an architectural change to the appearance of the building.
I'm having some questions about a vertical siding.
Thank you, Jack. Yeah, could the proponents please explain what that is about?
Yeah, it's pretty much the James Hardy cement boards that we're trying to introduce as the vertical siding look. That Kim really liked it, thought it was really bring it to make it look good the way she would like as well. And also the cement boards, they are more durable than regular siding, so for better preservation in the future. As you probably know, that's kind of like in the past 10 years or so, big on the market, and she's trying to introduce that into the house.
So vertical siding is the appearance for the entirety of the cladding of the building, not just some section of it, but all of it? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly, yes.
I see. Thank you, Jack, for raising that question. I had thought of that, but didn't pursue it. That's a major change in appearance, certainly.
I have a problem with corner boards and a lot of the other trim on this house.
What does that mean?
Shingles, the shingle siding abuts the corner board. How does a vertical siding work where corner boards are? Or does the siding bend around the corner?
It's the same kind of idea as a shingle. The board and bat has a protection, so both boards meet this way, and there's a middle strip that goes in for protection of the gap. And same idea on the ends. The strip goes on the sides as well to protect any extra gaps that would be over with that as well. So it's got the same idea as a shingle, but it's actually a better, a little better quality material.
Can I ask, is there a drawing of what these vertical, quote, shingles will look like?
The drawing should be, let's see, under that, keep scrolling down because it's an engineer to put it right there.
I don't recall seeing an illustration showing a major siding change with the application.
So, keep rolling down.
That still looks like it's shingles.
Yeah,
Can you go to the top drawing? Not drawing, photograph, I'm sorry. That house, I was so charmed with it. I was not expecting quite that feeling about it, but it's a beautiful house with nice features, and I'd hate to see doing something radical like suddenly making vertical lines up and down on the walls. And also my other concern was if you're updating the siding, trim, windows, doors, and roof, what kind of material are you using? Because it's an 1846 house, and it does look like it has an awful lot of original or near original facade.
Can I just want to jump in and say that my grandfather got possession of his house in the 80s after his parents passed and the renters moved out because his parents lived down the street. And he completely he basically gutted it and redid it to look like this. Because when he took possession, it looked like the house that when you're looking at the houses now, it's the house to the right of my 353, so up Ocean Street. So the one that in this picture you can see the red shutters on that. So it was just the white siding. So all he did was say, I want it to look like it did when I was born in it, and so I'm gonna go back to the cedar shake stuff. So my point is that he himself did a complete remodel for his tastes, and he was very much dyed in the wool Cape Cod. I mean, he lived off the Cape for a number of years, but he had great love for the Cape, and all I would like to do is to help to modernize it and to make it interesting for my future and the future of the house. So that's my interest in changing it, because I feel like he changed it, and so, you know, it's my turn.
So one of the primary changes would be the porch, which I think, personally, again, I don't have any problem with that. It will tend to cover and partly hide what is a fairly attractive Greek Revival style main entry, but it will still be there. I believe you're planning to retain it in its present configuration, which is helpful. You know, changing a building to a white color is not in and of itself a problem I could think of. I guess what worries me is the change in texture and the change from horizontal to vertical as the principal element. My belief is that most of the other buildings in the area that would have had a board cladding like a clapboard as opposed to shingles would have been horizontal. I've virtually never seen vertical siding done that way except in barn board and on informal outbuildings and things. So it changes the character and context of the building, the way it reads from the street and from any visible profile or elevation quite a lot. And you know, the question is, how important is that? And that's a commission-wide decision. That's not up to me. But I would like to hear what people think of that. Are there any alternatives to what you're proposing that you would consider that would, you know, go a little bit more along the lines of the present architectural layout of the cladding as it is? I mean, hardy board can be laid horizontally, for example. And then it gets to be a case of, is it wide, is it narrow, what's the reveal? Does it look like clapboard, does it look like something else? And those are all just part of the aesthetic questions for when you're doing a major remodeling of a structure.
I mean, we haven't really discussed anything else, because I think it's not Tulio's place to encourage me to think about other things, and this is what I told him I would like to have. There's a house on Gosnell that does have the vertical siding, and it's just, I think it is sort of a barn look. I will grant you that it's sort of a farmhouse look, but I find it very appealing, and I think it's a fun upgrade, and the hardy siding in particular is quite rugged, and so that feels very valuable to be able to support the house with that kind of exterior. So, but we hadn't really thrown around other options. I know that there's all kinds of fake cedar shake siding kind of stuff that, I mean, the house next door, the one that was newly remodeled, has all that, and that's not interesting to me at all, because it's not my taste for starters, and I don't feel like it's terribly respectful for the kind of history or the preservation of the house. So.
Well, how do the commissioners feel about this? I'm going to be honest and say I don't personally know that I think that what's being requested is something that would cause me to want to invoke a demolition delay or anything quite as drastic as that. The basic structure is being retained, it's being preserved. It's obviously being preserved by somebody who appreciates it. The principal facade facing the street is not being reoriented. The main features of that being the layout of the windows and the assembly of the entryway are being retained. The profiles of the building will stay essentially the same other than that, except for in the very rear where I don't believe it will show up much. It's a wonderful building. It's a beautiful building. I think all of us who've seen it or gone by it are charmed by it. And, you know, you're right, we're kind of preconditioned to think of weathered shingles as what goes with buildings of this age, and that's true, but you're not in a historic district, and it's not, a listed building, it's of an age that we need to look at it when a partial demolition is approached, and, you know, so that's the proper context for our conversation, I think. Any other commissioners want to?
I would have to have, I need to have a rendition to scale and see what this looks like vertically. I don't think it'll present itself well vertically.
I
Well,
agree.
we could request, we could do this. We could ask you, if you wouldn't mind, as the applicant, to request a continuation to the next hearing, during which time you and your builder could provide the commission with an artist rendering or graphic representation to show us an illustration of what the new cladding would be like as applied to this building, and show us how the trim works, and make sure that things will tie together, that it's actually a practical and doable and appropriate treatment. Would that be an acceptable idea?
I don't think, I think we can't not do that.
Well, you have a choice, certainly. And you know, I hear what you're saying. I'm not trying to be difficult, promise you, but I think to give you an opportunity to have us say that will be okay, we probably need to see more clearly what it is you propose, and that's all that Commissioner Kay is really requesting.
Do you mean like a architectural drawing of the siding as you be? So the same pretty much drawing as it is now from the engineer, but applying the vertical
Applying the vertical
boards
hardy board, yeah.
instead of the shingles.
And
Yes.
do you want it to be a pretend, like a painting of it, or
Oh, no,
is it drawing?
Jack, you correct me, but I think drawings such as the ones that are on the screen right now would be adequate, maybe with a focus on some interface between the hardy board and some of the trim that Jack has raised a question about, maybe principally on the facade where we have ear boards and returns and things from the rake boards. Those will be areas where we'll know how it will look and how it will work.
Just one question, as far as functionality, did you want, I mean, I can always just, draw, see an architect to draw it, take out the shingles, put the vertical boards in and all that. But as far as functionality, did you want me to get James Hardy ways of installation or something like that to present to the table? Is that what we're looking for here?
Jack, do you think that's needed? I'm not the architect, you are.
No, I don't think that's needed. I
Okay.
think what we're looking at right now with vertical siding will help us greatly. But right now, it almost appears like it's still shingles.
Yeah, it does.
No, yeah. I think.
So
yeah,
that's,
okay.
does that help? Tulio, does that help you understand what we're after?
Yeah, so pretty much just the same drawing, but with the vertical siding, more
Right.
specifically with the width that you'll have and all that.
Okay, great.
Bob, I have another question.
Yes,
Tulio, can you confirm that the windows are not changing?
The
I know they're
windows,
being updated, but we're not changing the configuration of the windows, are we?
the sizes of the windows are not changing now,
Okay.
except for that 3 ones on the back, they'll become a slider that I mentioned earlier. That's to the deck of the back.
Okay,
Yeah, the area right there. That's
okay.
2 windows currently, which is this pretty much the windows, all of them is the same size as the slider, but we're removing the window, putting the slider in so they can enjoy the deck.
So underneath where your arrow is pointing now, are there 4 windows there?
There
Underneath
is
the
3 windows there, and they're gonna become a slider according to the plan, if possible. And but the windows are huge. It is pretty much the same size as the slider.
And beneath that, are there 4 windows there currently?
No, that's the back side.
No, so beneath that is the finished grade after we add the porch in the back. Right now is just that entrance with that exit with the door. to the backyard.
I see, okay.
That will be a screen, and interchangeable screen with glass porch. So it'll be like a porch right there. You see a larger 16 by 12 area there. And this will disappear, the little, the doghouse entrance will disappear, and that will come out and become the three-season porch.
Thank you.
The back of this house looks like it has casements above that back porch. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, what was the question? Kind of echoing.
Jack was asking, it appears to him that the windows in this elevation that's shown on the screen right now incorporates casement windows. Is that correct?
The top windows?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. It looks like that.
And there will become sliders. The slider that I was mentioning earlier.
Again, I don't have any problems with the back of the house, but even if it was vertical boarding, I wouldn't be very thrilled with that. But it's just such a charming house. It has not appreciably changed in towards 100 and should have figured that out before 170 or so years. I hate to see it suddenly become a totally different building, and I'm also wondering, there's somebody echoing here. I also wonder what the material will be of the replacement windows and doors. I hope they will be wood. I mean, this is just such a remarkable, small, but it appears, I know it's not true, it appears to be nearly untouched, and I hate to see it suddenly become something totally different. There's a man with his hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, indeed. Mr. Tumich.
Yeah, I'm the husband of Kim, just to plug you into how I play in this.
Thank you.
We're trying to do a good thing here. This house has been ignored for quite a while, by my count, at least 20 years after her grandfather died. We're struggling with what's the best way. We want to honor the history, but I also want to support my wife in some of the things that she wants to do. And it's going to take a lot of funds for a single family to make this work. So just wanted to provide the group a little background. The picture that's up, that's a wooden gutter on the corner. This thing doesn't have any gutters. There were trees having limbs inside the house when we took over a year ago. So we're trying to save it. And I got pictures, Kim's got pictures of what it was like in the 80s, and it didn't look like this at all. It's kudos to her grandfather that tried to bring it back into the spirit of what you see today. So I'm just giving you information of what we're trying to do.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'd like to move this along a little bit. We have other people waiting as well, and I apologize again, we got off to a late start today. My suggestion is either that we, if the commission is willing, put this to a vote, and close the public hearing, of course, or that we see if the applicant would request a continuance to next month's date and be able to present us with the detail requested by Jack regarding the appearance in elevations drawings of the proposed siding. And I think the better suggestion is the latter one, if I may say so just editorially, but you guys need to choose. You could tell us what you'd like best to do with this.
The waiting is fine. What's the date of the next meeting?
Erica, can you help with that?
Yeah, this is Erica Brown. Yes, the next meeting is Tuesday, March 18th at 4:00 p.m.
Okay.
Okay. And I don't think it will be a long and complicated process. We've had a good conversation about it now. It's really trying to get our arms around the visuals of the concept that you're proposing. That's the main thing. It's going to change the personality of the building quite substantially, and I think we all need to see what that means. So if that's okay, what I'd like to do then is accept a motion to close the public hearing.
Point of order.
Oh, yes, yeah, okay.
Keep the
Keep the hearing open.
public
I beg your
hearing
pardon, of
open for
course.
the next meeting.
Thank you very
We just need
much.
a motion to continue this item.
Okie dokie, thank you. Step in any time I do something like that. From the commissioners, could I please have a motion to continue the public hearing till the next meeting date of March the 18th?
I will make that motion to continue this meeting, this application until March 18th.
Thank you, Nancy
And I
Shoemaker.
will second that.
Thank you, Barbara Biasi. So on that question, Nancy Shoemaker,
Aye.
Cheryl Powell, I believe, is still not here. Jack Kay?
Aye.
Thank you. Barbara DiBiase?
Aye.
Thank you. John Richmond?
Aye.
Thank you. Robert Frazee? Aye. So thank you guys very much. That is continued the next month with the supply of drawings that show the proposed siding in between, and that should work out very well. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Alrighty, moving on to our next hearing. Katuitt Fire District, 56 High Street, Katuitt, map 035, parcel 045, build 1897, full demolition, demolish existing residential building and garage. And I would like to open the public hearing. May I have a motion to that extent, please?
I move that we open to a public hearing.
Thank you, Nancy Shoemaker, in a second.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Jack Kay. Nancy Shoemaker,
Aye.
Jack Kay,
Aye.
Barbara DiBiase, John Richmond,
Aye.
Robert Frazee, aye. We are in a public hearing. The proponents for this application, please make yourselves known and let us know what your plan is and what your rationale is. And welcome.
My name is Kurt River, and I'm one of the principals at Catalyst Architecture and Interiors in Yarmouthport, and pleased to be here today to represent the Katuitt Fire District. A whole host of people on our project team are in attendance, including Chief Brown, Fire Commissioner Kevin Conley, Deputy Chief Shane Clark. And we also have some of my staff and associates and our friends at CHA who are the project managers for the fire district's new fire station expansion project. So before you today, we've submitted an application for the demolition and removal of two structures at 56 High Street, which is immediately to the left side, to the right side of the existing fire station. And as you stand in the street and look at it. So today, right now, we're looking at our first sheet of photos that we submitted. Upper left-hand corner, A, is a picture from the street of the older house in the center or rear of and then the three-bay garage building to the left side of the site. So this is a little bit set back from the street. And there's a couple of trees and stuff, and so you don't really see this house until you kind of come upon it. The right side of the page shows two different pictures, different times of day and season of the front of the house. And as you can see, the old sort of gable front end of the house has been modified numerous times over the years with additions both on the right side and the left side with very low slope roofs. The existing windows have all been modified and replaced with quite a collection of different windows of various sizes and styles. And we've even got sort of a barn door on the with 6 lights in it to the left side in the kind of low slope or flat roof addition. And then there's a little porch out in front. The little history, the fire department has acquired this property a number of years ago. And we've been involved for a couple of years studying what's the best way to use this property and studying also the fire department's needs. At the end of all that studying, we decided that in addition to the existing fire station onto this parcel was required to meet the needs of new fire apparatus that don't fit into the existing bays or won't soon, and once these existing trucks are replaced. So the next slide shows a couple more pictures around the side showing the unique roof line at the left side addition that's partially supported on columns and piers with this lattice structure kind of concealing the post foundation. Again, a real collection of used windows have been added sort of randomly throughout this addition. I think the next slide shows the rear side of the building with, again, that sort of porch elevated addition, and then the brick foundation with a barn sash in the lower level and a plate glass fixed window in the center of some small double hungs and an old 6/6 window. So this has just been a collection of additions with kind of used parts, if you will, over many, many years. I think our next slide shows, again, a couple more views of continuing around from the left side to the rear. Now we're on the right side. And the grade drops tremendously. And as you can see, again, another kind of shed lean-to addition on the back of the old house. A little corner to the left side of photo B and in the center of photo A. You can see there's a little corner board there, the remains of the existing house. You get right back in picture C in the lower left to that other sort of addition with a 1/12 or 1.5/12 pitch roof. And you can see that the building is seen better days. The fire department, after careful consideration with what to do with this property for a number of years, including office space in a separate building, have now decided that for the future of the fire service in Katuitt, they really need to expand the station. And we show that on our site plans, which are following the next slide. So we go to the next slide. This is the existing conditions plan from our friends at Cape and Islands Engineering. The large building, yes, this is great. Yellow buildings are the two structures on 56, which our application is all about today. The other building in the light pale orange color is the existing fire station. And you can see it's tucked in against the right and rear property line of the existing parcel. The next slide shows, although the orientation is slightly different, the street side is the left of this drawing. Again, the pale orange is the existing station. The darker kind of amber color is the proposed footprint addition. So we're proposing an addition that spans over onto the 56 parcel. And after this application is approved, if you're inclined, then we'll be off to the planning board to do an A&R and combine these lots into one. And we've got a couple of other sort of regulatory meetings planned after this, but we want to, start here. The existing house, in the center portion of the existing house, we've got drawings of the house. It's kind of hard to tell even from this first floor plan. Once you go in the building, so much of it has been cut out and removed. There's really no interior architecture of the old house. And the elevations, although they look, the next sheet, the next drawing slide, shows the front elevation. And although we've drawn it in the computer, so the lines are nice and crisp, you can see here again that it's quite a mix of sort of a more recent deck and railing out in front of the old house, collection of odd windows that aren't quite aligned, and then big plate glass windows, and unique style and sizes, and the shed roofs to either side, and again in the rear. Three additions to this building actually cover up almost 75% of the exterior of this building. And the other drawings that follow are more of the same, just the other sides of this structure. Again, more different windows. This is your abutters list. We did submit pictures of the garage. The garage is in even worse condition. Literally, the garage doors are falling off the rollers. We didn't feel like that structure had the same historic significance as this, what remains of the center portion of that old house. So I'll stop talking, try to answer your questions.
Great, thank you very much, sir. I appreciate that. Commissioners, any specific questions?
Are there people from the community who would like to speak?
That's a very fair question. Erica, you see anybody?
Here, this is Erica Brown. There is quite a few people on, so if I'm missing somebody, please feel free to unmute yourself, but I do not see anyone wishing to speak to this item at this time.
Okay, and am I correct also, we had no written public comment on this application, correct?
Correct, there was no written public comment.
The only other ingredient I would toss in, and Erica, you can help me out with timing of it, but this property, this building, was a subject of an application previously before the Barnstable Historical Commission, at which time it was considered preferably preserved. A demolition delay was imposed. One of the objectives of the delay was to enable the exploration of an opportunity to perhaps move it to a not terribly distant property. I understand that there had been an individual interested in receiving it, which supported that idea, and that consequent to the demolition delay being invoked, it was determined that there was a zoning obstruction to the move and it could not be fulfilled. And that the filing remained open and expired, basically. It was not demolished, and that's one of the reasons that this is back as if a fresh application. This time, however, including the garage, I think the first time it did not. Does that sound correct as well?
I can't recall if the garage was a part of it. I do know the house was, but it may have been. But yeah, this did come in a previous meeting years past and had lapsed afterwards. The Katuitt Fire Department did work with the abutter who was interested in moving that structure to their property, but was unable to do so due to zoning restrictions.
Got it. So I think we're pretty up to speed with the story of this in terms of modern times. It was largely out of respect to the prior commissioners and prior commission that I felt it was important to bring this back before us. I don't think the situation has changed appreciably, except I think the district is now more urgently in need of and more clearly aware of what their next plan and program needs to be and will be. And I think that was not as urgently the case previously, so that's fine. It might partly explain why the demolition didn't occur before. And I'll shut up a minute because I'd like to hear from the other commissioners, but I agree with the assessment that the garage is of no particular consequence. And I think right from the beginning, the only hope for preservation here was to anticipate there might be enough of the original house and enough character in it that it would be worth the effort to strip away the additions and try to move and save it. And I'm going to offer my own personal opinion that has been discussed and attempted to whatever extent it could be. And my belief is that there probably would have still been a question whether the building would have sustained the move, even if it could have been moved. And then whether it would have been worth moving once you stripped the other additions off it. I don't think there's probably much left of the original fenestration, doorways, partitions, what have you. It would have been kind of an odd project. So I'm not feeling terribly strongly about this, but I'd like to hear the other commissioners' thoughts, please. Nancy.
I feel that you know, we were hoping to save it. I was on the commission at that time. And I think they did their due diligence to try to find a home for much of the building. This is also something that I think has to do with public safety and if the fire department feels they need more space. But going back to my first statement, it's kind of like we gave them a demolition delay and it was over and then wasn't acted on, but to me, it's like they've had a long delay and I would understand that they would need to move on. They tried their best.
Thank you. Any other commissioners' comments? Okay, well, seeing none, I'd be willing to close the public hearing and go to motions on this if that's acceptable. Could I have a motion to close the hearing, please?
So moved.
Thank you, Jack, and second, Nancy?
Certainly, second.
Thank you very much. In the matter of closing public hearing, Nancy Shoemaker,
Aye.
Jack Kay,
Aye.
Robert DiBiase,
Aye.
John Richmond,
Aye.
Robert Frazee, aye. Very good. So, we go to the motions. Did you all receive those, I hope?
Yes.
And would one of you be willing to read the motion for this property?
I'd be happy to.
Thank you very much, Barbara.
Katuitt Fire Department, 56 High Street, Katuitt, map 035, parcel 045, built 1897. Full demolition, demolish existing residential building and garage. Motion 1, I move that after review and consideration of public testimony, the application and associated materials, the significant building located 56 High Street, Katuitt is a preferably preserved significant building.
Nancy Shoemaker, I second the motion.
Thank you very much, Nancy. We'll have a roll call vote. An aye vote will impose an 18-month delay. A nay vote will not impose an 18-month delay. Nancy Shoemaker.
Nay.
Cheryl Powell, not here. Jack Kay.
Nay.
Barbara DiBiase.
Nay.
John Richmond.
Nay.
Robert Frazee, nay. All righty, moving down to the next motion, which would be if the motion 1 fails. Barbara?
I move that in accordance with section 112-3F, the Barnstable Historical Commission determines that the full demolition of the building located 56 High Street, Katuitt is not detrimental to the historical, cultural, and architectural heritage or resources of the town.
The second?
Nancy Shoemaker, I'll second it.
Thank you, Nancy. An aye vote determines that the full demolition of the single-family structure is not detrimental and no demolition delay would be imposed. Nancy Shoemaker?
Aye.
Jack Kay?
Aye.
Barbara DiBiase?
Aye.
John Richmond?
Aye.
Robert Frazee, aye. So there's no demolition delay imposed and you are free to proceed with your demolition permit for the building inspector. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
Appreciate it. All righty. Get my paperwork back in order here for a moment. Thank you all for patiently waiting in the wings for this next and last hearing. I appreciate that. John Dwayne Friedman and Catherine Friedman, trustees, 43 Iano Avenue, Hyannisport, map 287, parcel 074, built 1880. Partial demolition, existing dwelling to be raised and set on new foundation and renovated to preserve original portions. Construct new additions, including an attached garage. Update windows, roof, and siding. Full demolition of the existing detached garage built in 1935. And I'd like to open public hearing for this. Could I have a motion to do so, please?
I'm Nancy Shoemaker. I move that we open the public hearing.
Thank you. And a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, thank you very much. All in favor, let's see, Nancy Shoemaker
Aye.
and Jack Kay,
Aye.
Barbara DiBiase,
Aye.
John Richmond,
Aye.
Robert Frazee. Aye, we are in public hearing for this, and again, thank you to those of you who have been waiting to be able to speak to us. Please identify yourselves and let us hear what you have in mind. Is there someone here to speak for this applicant?
This is Patrick Ahern, architect. Mike Ford, I believe, is the attorney.
I was on mute. I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. I made an introduction on mute, so.
No worries, Mike. Thank you very much. Welcome, sir.
If I can start again. So, Mike Ford, counsel for the applicant, along with Jeff Ford from my office. Together with us is Patrick Ahern, the architect who has drawn the plans that are before you. We're here for two purposes. One, under your demolition delay bylaw, as we are proposing to demolish portions of the existing house. And as you'll see when the plans are presented to you, saving the original house as we have been able to determine it, and also to demolish the barn, or garage, I should say. Little bit of history. We filed the Form B with this property. It's in Hyannisport, which has been, since I think 1987, a National Register District. So we're dealing with a National Register District, and this property was listed, as was this house, as a contributing structure in that district. So we're looking for two things. One, a request to proceed with this project without the imposition of a demolition delay. And two, a finding that what we're doing in terms of the original historic structure is not a substantial alteration within the meaning of the Cape Cod Commission Act, such that it would involve a referral to the commission. Little bit of history. If you read the Form B, you'll see that the Form B indicates that the property dates to 1853. The assessors records have it as 1880. In any event, it's a very old house, the original house. The Form B picture shows it being renovated at that time. Our examination of the building and zoning files indicate that there were extensive alterations between the period of 1915 through 1950, which results substantially in the building that is there today. Hope you had an opportunity to get out and actually see the site. The current building, the original house is in the front, and we'll walk you through that, but the building is entirely clad with vinyl cladding now, vinyl siding, and all of the windows that were swapped out, or most of them, and so they're very little original in terms of any of the siding on this particular house. What we're seeking to do is to raise up the original house, historic house, move it on the site so that it complies with the setbacks under the zoning bylaw, the zoning ordinance, I should say, and then to add some additions to that, one of which is an attached garage, replacing the existing garage building, which is proposed to be removed. The original house will then, in terms of setbacks and other dimensional requirements, comply with the zoning ordinance. What I'd like to do, Mr. Chairman, is to have Mr. Ahern kind of walk you through the program walk you through where the original house is and where it ends up. We also sent today to Erica a kind of a 3D model that Mr. Hearn's office has put together, which I think will be instructive, and at some point we'd like to show you that as well. Erica already has it in your files. So with that, if I could turn it over to Mr. Hearn to present the plan.
Certainly. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike. So when we got involved with this project a while ago, we also consulted with Sarah Korjeff of the Cape Cod Commission to get her insight into what she thought was doable with this house and so on. And we also sent her everything that you have before you today, including some additional renderings and some other drawings that she thought would be helpful to understand what was going on. The net result was that Sarah reviewed the plan, set an application that we filed with all of you, and she agreed with the application and felt that the areas that we are proposing to demolish were not historic in nature and were consistent with her prior comments given to us at the site visit that she attended with us. She further indicated the additions did not appear to be overshadowing the original historic structure and were being constructed in a similar style to complement the portion being saved. We also discussed the removal of the garage, which I told her records seemed to show it was constructed at a later date, about 1935, and she did not appear to have any it did not appear to have any historical significance or architecture, which she agreed was not, and she was not concerned with its removal. So that was very helpful when we went through this. We also met with the building inspector in terms of the percentage of removal of portions of the house that would be deemed historic, etc., and that 88.6% of the first floor is being preserved of the existing house, 96% of the second floor, 85% of the roof. So with that in mind, I think we have a really good program. The integrity of the original house is being preserved, and some of the architectural elements that were on the house in the 1800s we've been able to incorporate in the new construction. And as you can see here on this first floor plan, everything you see in green represents the existing house, which is the areas that will be preserved, which is consistent with Sarah's understanding as well. If we could go to the drawing that we submitted recently that shows, that she had asked for as well, that shows the existing primary front facade and then the proposed wings below it.
I think that would be the one, Erica, that was sent today. Just the one you want, Patrick?
Well, these are fine, but I just want to go with I want to go back to this right after this.
Okay. So which one do you want?
I'd like that drawing that shows the existing elevation on the upper portion of the page and the proposed at the bottom. Keep going. Going. Keep going, please.
Unfortunately, Patrick, I don't think we had a drawing that showed both the existing and the proposed on the same page.
We
Oh, you know what it
submitted
is?
I have,
Do you have it, Patrick?
I have it here in front of me.
Yeah. Well, maybe if you put it up. Could you share, Erica, so that he could put it up?
That will be, Sarah, would you be able to allow Patrick
It
to
doesn't
share?
look like he has it electronically. It looks like he literally just has a piece of paper, so.
Well, I can do it this way, I guess. So this is the front facade as it exists today. And then this shows what we're proposing is basically two additions set well back from the primary facade. And as you can see in the drawing, so what Sarah was interested in, that the primary facade, which is in the middle, would be preserved and would be visible, readily visible as part of the ensemble. The garage wing is set back 45 feet from the face of the primary facade, and the other wing and to the right is set back 20 feet. So three-dimensionally, which I want to get to in a moment, you'll see it modulates back, and the primary house will still be quite recognizable. So if we could go to those renderings that I know you have in your packet, that might be helpful. Okay, let's start slowly. So as you can see, the garage wing is set back 45 feet, and that the other wing is 20 feet back, and that basically the same massing of what's existing now is still there, including the bay windows and the covered porch, albeit without the vinyl siding. It would be a wood shingle roof. It would be white cedar shingles, stained white, which is the house has been white for many years with the vinyl, unfortunately. Let's continue on the renderings if we could. Again, this shows the slight change in grade as you move up, which is existing, showing the new garage carriage house wing set way back from the house, so that the dominant element is always what people understand to be the original house, or as the house exists today, with the other wing set well back. Next, please. Again, just further definition. There is an opening through the stone wall now, which is really the driveway. We would make that the pedestrian entrance with some old granite stepping stones coming up to the front porch. Next. Just a closer look at the same idea. Next. We have a small pool off to the side, which doesn't compete with the house. There would be a wooden fence with a black mesh screen and then landscaping in front of it. The fence is a 4-foot high fence, and then there's also a covering on the small pool itself off to the side. So the pool doesn't really have any visual dominance on the site, nor does it compete with the original architecture, which Sarah has acknowledged. Next. 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 This is at the rear. We also, by moving the house over, we comply with all the setbacks, which currently the garage was right on the property line. Next. And then in the distant view, again, the existing house still has its presence on the streetscape and also even out on the water, and that the other wings are secondary and subservient to the original architecture. Again, some of the goals and objectives that Sarah had shared with us at our initial site visit before we even started the design process. So she's been an important person to bounce ideas off of and give us some guidance as we were preparing this design package for your board today. Next. That's me. Thank you. So we'll start with that and then answer any other questions you may have.
Thank you, Patrick, very much, and Mike also. That was very helpful. The plans are awesome from a study point of view for a commission like ours. I know that's part of your plan, and I appreciate that.
Thank you.
And thank you for consulting with Sarah Korjeff first and on site as well. I was not aware, I don't think the commission was aware that you had done that, but it's certainly a recommended thing when a building is in a National Register district and when it's stated as being contributing and when the alterations to the overall program are as substantial as they are, let alone whether the question is whether there's a substantial alteration to the original structure. That's a separate matter. But coincidentally, and it was coincidentally, we had a training session an hour before this hearing date today, at which Sarah presented the subject matter of a topic, historical commission's referrals to the Cape Cod Commission. And so we're a little better warmed up on the subject of that than we would normally be. And one of her comments was that historical commissions themselves frequently reach out for her expertise, in particular from the commission when a partial or complete or some form of demolition is required, is being requested for subject matter of this kind. So there's a certain synergy here, which I appreciate, and I'm hoping that we'll see how our fellow commissioners feel about this, but I'm thinking we may not need to reach back out to her or take that kind of time, and it's very helpful that you already.
We also met with the building inspector also to make sure that we were preserving the percentages that were appropriate, that didn't trigger any other issues with it. So we really
your calculations.
Yeah, we really did our homework, and we wanted to make sure that your board recognizes and understands that this wasn't like first cut, let's see what happens. This was very carefully crafted and studied to make sure that you were within the purview and the guidelines of your board, but also reached out to other players that would have some influence on the review of the design.
Thank you very much. We have seen occasionally first cut, let's see what happens presentations.
Yeah, I prefer not
totally not that.
It's not my plan.
I can tell. Fellow commissioners, comments, questions, thoughts. Jack, you're our architect in particular. What are your thoughts about this? And I don't believe you were in on, or were you on Sarah's presentation? I can't recall. In any case, your comments? Jack Kay?
He's muted. Jack?
Jack, you're muted at the moment.
Almost looks like he's frozen too.
Uh-oh. Well, so let's move on to others on the commission and hope Jack gets unfrozen if we can help with that in some way. Nancy, any thoughts?
Driving by it and having seen some of these, I don't see that the public is going to be that aware of major differences. I very much appreciate their keeping the house and keeping materials of the proper era of construction. I'm going to be interested to hear from all the neighborhood, which I assume is what
we'll definitely get to
other
that.
people here.
No, I agree, and I want to get to that in a moment. I just wanted to hear from our commissioners first if there was something foremost on their minds. Barbara, any thoughts that you have looking at this?
No, I'm all set.
John Richmond, any thoughts, sir?
John, you're muted.
Yeah, you're muted, John. Hello, John. Here we go. Just want to check in with you, sir, and see if you have any thoughts as a commissioner on the presentation and what's at hand here. We need you to unmute yourself.
It's been a tricky day today, huh?
We're all a little electronically challenged today for some reason. I don't quite understand that.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, so all I was trying to say is, I think we need to hear from the neighbors.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, there's a lot of hostility here.
Yeah, there are definitely strong comments, and I want to get to that in just a moment. Jack Kay, are you still frozen or muted or? Oh, there you are. Jack, do you have any thoughts on this before we open it up? I want to get the public comment in, and I want to have a broader discussion here.
You're still muted, Jack. We're still muted.
Can't hear you, sir.
Jack, you're still muted. You have to unmute yourself.
Well, let's let Jack work on unmuting himself. Erica, am I correct? I believe there were 8 letters in public comment that were submitted into the file?
Actually 2 more submitted after that. There is a total of 10. So obviously not everyone got to see all of them. I wanted to make sure the ones that you have seen.
Yeah, I think all the commissioners had a chance to see the first 6, and then probably the next to last 2. So maybe.
Is that right, everyone?
Yeah, I'm waiting to hear. I mean.
Oh, Jack's not muted anymore.
Oh.
Hi, Jack.
Hi.
Hi. Good. Jack, we're going to go to the public comment section, but I wanted to ask you as a commissioner and an architect, your impressions and thoughts based on the presentation and the plans and hearing of Sarah Korjeff's interactions and what have you, which are very, very helpful to have up front here.
Well, I think the proposal is very acceptable.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a nicely thought out and preserves a lot of what we want.
Okay. Very good. Erica, how would you like to handle the public comment question here? You want to read some of the last 4 that came in that we think perhaps people did not see in person? Does that make sense?
I can do that. Just give me a couple of seconds to bring it up.
And then certainly if there are those in attendance who wish to speak to the subject, they're in a moment going to be most welcome to do that as well.
I want to.
I want to say while you're looking at that, my impression of the comments was that they were predominantly in opposition, and that they were predominantly concerned with scale and massing, not so much of the on-site as self-contained question, but as the alterations to the programming on the site related to other properties in the immediate area of the neighborhood. And I may be mistaken, and I don't mean to put words in other people's mouths, but just to sort of try and summarize what I felt I took away from the preponderance of the communications that came in early enough for us to all for sure see them. That was it. And let's, if we can hear some of these other ones now.
Yeah, I had 5 submitted today, so we'll just round out and do the 5 just in case not everybody got a chance to look at them.
Thank you.
I just need to open up one more on my screen, and then give me 2 seconds and I will read them into the record.
Mr. Chairman, Mike Ford, I will tell you that we have not had the opportunity to see any of the letters.
Oh. Okay.
We're all uploaded to the Laserbeach, just so that you're aware. About 5 of them on Friday, and then 5 today. If you'd like, Mike, do you want me to read them all in? Is that okay?
No, that's up to the chairman. I don't have a problem with whatever the board decides in terms of reading them in. I just wanted to let the commission know that we hadn't seen the letters.
No, I appreciate that, Mike, but as chairman, I'd be more than happy to have Erica read them if it makes you or your client any more comfortable.
No,
okay.
You make the decision on that, that's fine.
Okay, well, I just soon think that we've got the first batch pretty well understood by the commissioners, at least, and obviously they are on Laserfish if you want to look at them later, but I'd like to have the other ones read as freshly none of us have seen, so bring us up.
Whatever you decide, Mr. Chairman, that's fine.
Thank you, sir.
So, I'll read the ones that were submitted today. The first one, Dear Erica, my wife Carol and I own a property on the corner of Irving Ave and Longwood Ave in Hyannisport. It is in the same block as the proposed enormous house with a swimming pool. The structure is, in my opinion, entirely out of place for the historical town that we live in. I'd like to strongly object and sincerely hope the Barnstable Historical Commission will honor the requests and feelings that this structure will not be allowed. Thank you very much. That was submitted by Christopher Page. One of the next ones that came up was from Lauren Kenny. She wrote, "Dear Miss Brown, I am writing to formally object to the proposed partial demolition and expansion of the existing home and historical structure located at 43 Iano Avenue in Hyannisport. This project will have an adverse effect not only on the historical structure in question, but also on the broader character and integrity of the Hyannisport Historic District, which was listed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1987. The Hyannisport Historic District is a carefully preserved and cherished community originally designed as a summer resort with modest homes built in the late 1800s and early 1900s. The architecture and character of this district are integral to the identity and historical legacy. The proposed modifications at 43 Iano Avenue significantly increase the scale and massing of the existing home, are inconsistent with the scale and style of the surrounding historic homes, and would disrupt the district's cohesive architectural landscape and historical integrity. The conversion of the historically significant homes into oversized structures, such as proposed at 43 Iano Avenue, sets a troubling precedent that threatens the gradual but significant erosion of the district's authenticity and unique character. Given these concerns, I respectfully urge the Commission to carefully evaluate the impact of this project and consider alternative approaches that would allow for necessary updates to 43 Iano Avenue on a scale that preserves the district's historical integrity. I hope that these concerns will be taken into account during your review of this proposal." The next one was from Nancy Hughes. "Dear members of the Barnstable Historic Commission, I am writing to express my concern about the proposed renovation at 43 Iano in Hyannisport. I am distressed to see the magnitude of this proposed plan. A number of homes in the central village of Hyannisport have been renovated in recent years, yet none have changed the scale of the domestic dwelling to the extent that this project seeks to do. Moreover, none have managed to radically reimagine the look of the village from the streets and or from the water as this project would. In this block of the village, the homes, many formerly parts of the original Hallett House and Stonelight Gables Inn, are already in very close proximity. 5 homes have property lines contiguous with 43 Iano, and this project threatens to significantly change the feel and look of the neighborhood. Additionally, I am concerned about where exactly the septic will be moved. The plans provided seem to suggest that the new addition in the pool would be on top of or near the edge of the current septic system. I have lived on this block for the past 40 years and never could I have imagined such a structure rising before us all. The very essence of New England lies in its modesty, its scale, its reverence for history and tradition. In a too rapidly changing world, Hyannisport has been a place that reminds many of us of the importance and beauty of simplicity, of community, and of the natural world. I am hopeful that our village can maintain this cherished quality. Thank you for your attention to this letter and for your service to the Barnstable Historic Commission." The next letter was submitted from Alexandra Rogers. She wrote, "Dear Miss Brown, I am writing to formally object to the proposed partial demolition and expansion of the existing home and historical structure located at 43 Iano Avenue, Hyannisport, MA. This project will adversely impact the historical structure in question and the product." Did I just read this one?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, sorry, it was very similar, sorry about that. And integrity of the Hyannisport Historic District, which was listed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1987. The Hyannisport Historic District is a carefully preserved and cherished community originally designed as a summer resort with modest homes built in the late 1800s and early 1900s. The architecture and character of this district are integral to the identity and its historical legacy. The proposed modifications at 43 Iano Avenue significantly increase the scale and massing of the existing home, but they are inconsistent with the scale and style of surrounding historic homes and would disrupt the district's cohesive architectural landscape and historical integrity. The conversion of historically significant homes into oversized structures such as proposed at 43 Iano Avenue sets a troubling precedent that threatens the gradual but significant erosion of the district's authenticity and unique character. Given these concerns, I respectfully urge the Commission to carefully evaluate the impact of this project and consider alternative approaches that would allow for necessary updates to 43 Iano Avenue on a scale that preserves the district's historical integrity. I hope that these concerns will be taken into account during your review of the proposal. And lastly, the last one that was submitted today was from Frank Floyd Jr. He wrote to the Barnstable Historical Commission, I have only recently received the notice of the BHC meeting scheduled for this afternoon with the agenda items listed for consideration, including the application for partial demolition of the property located at 43 Iano Avenue. Unfortunately, I am currently out of town, so will not be able to attend the meeting in person, but wanted to provide this letter, which is intended to be included in the minutes and hopefully shared as part of the proceedings. I am writing to express serious concerns about the proposed developments planned for the property located at 43 Iano Avenue, Hyannisport, as my property is located immediately west and we share a common property line. My family has been located at this location for 7 generations, and we have an expressed interest in the preservation of the Hyannisport community, especially as it relates to the historical nature of our unique and special community. In a nutshell, my concerns are as follows. 1, it would seem to me to be impossible to preserve the nature of the historical community listed in the Historic National Registry with a desired addition totaling 9,000 square feet of building, including a fenced-in pool. 2, preserving the approach to our community is essential in preserving the historic nature of the Hyannisport, and this design not only completely alters the street appeal of the neighborhood, in my opinion, in a negative way, but also influences the expectations of a historical community for those not familiar with our historic culture. 3, not sure if these next items are in the BHC purview for consideration, but I will ask anyways because they are important. A, have the plans been reviewed by a Barnstable Architectural Board for review, and have any variances been applied for or granted if necessary? And B, have these plans been reviewed by the Barnstable Planning and Zoning Committee to review factors such as setbacks, lighting, screening, site restrictions, etc., etc. Plans shared with the neighbors for review and comment. Speaking for myself, this is the very first time that I have been made aware of any alterations to this property. There are many other factors for consideration in this complex development, too many to here to list, but I will conclude by suggesting that this application be denied or at least tabled until some of these major changes can be properly reviewed in an effort to preserve the very important historical nature of Hyannisport. We wish our new neighbors well and hope that they will share the desire to preserve the character of our special place, and that the Commission upholds its mission to protect a community listed in the National Register. The Barnstable Historical Commission mission statement states, the Commission strives to promote an awareness of the community's heritage, to identify local preservation, to study public policies designed to protect and preserve history, and to provide opportunities for residents to share their historical legacy. Thank you. And that was from Frank Floyd. That was the 5 that were submitted today.
Thank you very much, Erica. I appreciate that. Again, my takeaway principally is that the concern I see as a thread running through pretty much all of the letters is about scale, size, impact on the surrounding community structures, supposing that they are at a different scale. And I'm not sure I'm in a position to have an opinion on whether that is accurate or not. I think it would help if we at some point are able to look at 1 or 2 of the renderings that were provided today that we had up on the screen earlier. One is now, but some that show some of the other buildings in the area. And one of my questions for the applicants would be, are the drawings of the surrounding buildings to scale in relationship with the scale of the building that's the subject of the application?
Right. If I could comment on that, as well as give you an overview of what was read into the record.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you. First of all, the house that you see that's blocked out with the blue trim on this rendering is volumetrically more significant and larger than what we have proposed as an immediate abutter to the right. Additionally, as Jack will attest, a good architect, respects the original structure and the hierarchy. So all of our newer additions are smaller in scale and set back in a way so that the original house is the dominant element on the streetscape and in the public way. Sarah agreed with all of that, and that she gave us the guidance in which to move in that direction. And she said that the additions did not appear to be overshadowing the original historic structure and were being constructed in a similar style to complement the portion being saved. So that's important to understand. The other thing to really talk about is how zoning dictates design. So we have located this house and all of its attendant work well within the setbacks. In fact, the house is set back from the front yard setback almost 69 feet. It's a 22,405 square foot lot. It's a large oversized lot. In that, in terms of lot coverage, we're only at 23% of the lot coverage. So in terms of the scale of the lot and how zoning dictates design, there's many smaller lots, but this lot in particular is a large lot. And zoning is set up in a way that responds to height, to setback, and to coverage. Those are the dominant elements in zoning, of which we're well within those parameters. If we go to one of the other renderings where you, like, say, from the water looking back, I think that's an important one. There you go. So if you look at the, and again, this was done, you know, with computer and Google Earth and a lot of the technologies that's beyond my, I still draw with an ink, so. But you can see in context, look at the ridge lines, look at the roof lines, look at the modulation, look at the house with the blue trim to the right, look at the mass and scale of that house on smaller lots. So with much larger lot coverage. So when we talk about density and we talk about scale, look at what you can see here, and you look at all of these structures here, and you look at the work that we're proposing. The dominant element is the historic house, and it's being respected and preserved. The other wings are very secondary and lower and smaller. And you look at the visual roofscape in the context of the neighborhood. And I would argue that, in fact, this nestles itself quite nicely into the public realm. And it is not, you know, overpowering. And as I said, if you walk down the street in real life, and you really look at that house immediately to the right, which was recently renovated, it's significantly more volumetric and very boxy, and really not a good piece of architecture. But it's a very large massing block that was there, and that doesn't have the sensitivity to solid devoid relationships, to break down in scale and mass, that, you know, we've elected to do in a way that, you know, Sarah Korjeff, I mean, not that she's the total arbiter of everything, but I would say she's a really good resource. And to get her support on a project, I think that's not an easy thing to do. And I think we've been able to do that, and I would hope that the board recognizes that, notwithstanding some of the letters and the concerns. You know, I've been practicing for 52 years in many historic districts, and I've done over 250 houses in the town of Edgartown, basically done the whole town over. And, you know, I'm used to, you know, getting the letters of the abutters and things like that. And certainly, you know, I like to be the good listener. And we reached out to the building inspector. We reached out to Sarah. And we really looked at mass and scale, because that's what the overriding letters seem to point out, mass and scale.
Yeah.
But you need to put that in the context of the site, too.
Can I say something?
Nancy, please.
I have been on the commission for a few decades, and I've never heard a community respond so much. I think what we have all felt is very similar to what you, Patrick, are saying, but I wonder if you might want to take a month, you know, get it put off for to the next month or 2 months or whatever, and discuss this with the community. It might be to your advantage. I agree with what you said in many ways, but I don't live there. I drove by the house 2 days ago, you know, I'm just throwing that out there. That might be a good possibility. And also, Erica, do we have this, how long can we have a meeting? Does it end at 6 or not particularly? Because we're not there.
We're via Zoom, so not particularly.
Okay, all right.
I mean, our client lives around the corner or nearby already. And it has been in the neighborhood and the community for a long time. So,
it's just
certainly
that
would discuss it with
so
them.
many people come forward and give some good reasons, and yet listening to them, I can also agree with what you're saying. I mean, Mike Ford, would you recommend something here or not? You know, I just like to see the neighborhood get along and you know, maybe try to make their homes as compatible with history as you are doing. Yeah.
Is there
Mike, you're muted.
Is there a massing calculation from the before to the after of this project?
I want to bet there is. I see Patrick shuffling.
Well, Jack, we have a site survey that shows the new house superimposed over the old house.
Mm-hmm.
So,
that's true.
And that the total coverage with the new work, including the pool for lot coverage, the pool is 375 square feet, and including that in the coverage, we're only 23% coverage on the lot. That's with the pool, not the building per se. So we're probably less than 20% or about 20% of the lot coverage.
Patrick, I hear what you're saying. Let me respond to Commissioner Schumacher's request. So our clients want to get along in the neighborhood. As Patrick pointed out, they already have a home in the neighborhood and feel that what they've charged Patrick with doing, which is to bring something in that fits not only with the neighborhood, but fits with the National Register district itself, having looked at a lot of the homes in Hyannisport, and a lot of thought has gone into this. Now, would I recommend to my clients that they have a conversation with the neighbors? Of course I would. I mean, they're not adverse to discussing the project with their neighbors. And clearly, if commission members want to see that dialogue before you're comfortable taking a vote on this, we understand that, and we would do that. Whether that'll change the plan or not, I don't know. Frankly, I suspect that it may not, because in addition to Patrick working very hard to meet the requirements of the National Register District and the design of this, as Patrick said, we had a series of meetings with the building commissioner regarding the application of the zoning ordinance in terms of coverage and setbacks. And this ends up being an improved plan over what exists when you look at all of those dimensional requirements. And I think this photograph, which obviously we'd like to share with the neighborhood, those who can't see it today, shows that many of the homes in this immediate area appear to be more massive and higher roof lines than what we're proposing. And so sometimes when you look at a flat plan, and that may have been what some of them did, they probably thought that this was all stretched along the front of the lot with the garage and the wing, and it's only if you really take a look at photos such as this one that you realize that the work that's gone into trying to make this fit in not only with the neighborhood, but historically. So that's a long-winded way to say, yes, I would recommend to my clients that we at least respond to those who sent letters, reach out. I wouldn't want to continue it for 2 months, but a month's continuance, certainly, and we would do it really so that commission members felt that we've reached out to the neighborhood before you take your votes.
Yeah, I don't think we're demanding anything of you. I'd just like to see it work out for everyone involved. And I was impressed. I went by the house. I'm impressed with the presentation. But it's unusual to have so many neighboring people be so upset about something. And I just think everyone on both sides would benefit. And I'm not telling you to do it. And I would agree, 1 month would be plenty of time to continue it, but only suggestions.
Yeah, I want to, excuse me, step in and thank both of you for that exchange. Patrick, you too. All of the things all three of you have expressed, I was already thinking about the plan and the neighbors and the neighborhood, truthfully. It is unusual to have so many people correspond and be as unified as that in opposition to something. I suspect that, at least in a few cases, had they had the benefit of this hearing or this exchange of ideas, or the benefit of seeing some of these most recent renderings, particularly the one that's on our screen right now, which puts things in proportion, it gets to why I actually asked the question about the relationship of scale of the neighboring buildings to the one you're proposing moving, because I had a hunch that exactly, Patrick, where you were answering, how you answered was where we were going to go with it after I asked the question. And I believe in that because I believe it's correct and accurate, but I can sense that the neighbors don't understand it or see it that way. And so, Nancy, I want to thank you. I was a little almost horrified when you brought that up at first, but I think it's a really good suggestion. Michael, if you don't mind, Attorney Ford, taking that as an opportunity to continue it for just 1 month, with the idea of at least giving them, the neighbors and others, an opportunity to learn more about the details, see more about the schematics, and appreciate that it's, in my personal opinion, not nearly as radical an alteration as I think people sense it may be. I think that would be very helpful. My last thought is, I believe as you are moving the building on site and accommodating and using a larger lot better than it was, you're also probably coming a little closer to some neighboring lots where that is not only not happening, but may not be an opportunity. And, there may be some, not consternation, but frustration over that is not immediately solvable, but it may be part of why people are uncomfortable. And I think that also with some dialogue could be improved. At least I would hope so, and I believe it's worth trying.
No, I don't disagree. I think it's certainly worth trying. I will say, in all my experiences, when you present 2D drawings, two-dimensional elevations, and you don't see the push and pull and where things are sitting,
yeah.
It becomes onerous. It looks like it's this giant billboard, 100 foot wide across the whole lot.
You get no sense of the depth of it.
Right, you don't. So, I think, we only produced these renderings recently, at Sarah's suggestion, for probably all the same reasons. Mm-hmm. To help us, maybe assuage the board, but also get the neighbors comfortable. So, we'll share, at a minimum, we will share all of the latest renderings and the 3D drawings, and talk to our client about trying to set up a Zoom call or something, with everyone in the neighborhood that would want to participate, and at least educate them to what we're doing and why we think it's appropriate, and we'll go from there.
Another suggestion, and that is that the commission has a visit to the property, so that even if this issue isn't solved, we will be aware of the wonderful qualities of what you are doing, or not, but that might help. I'm not saying we do it, but it might help.
Nancy, are you suggesting a formal site visit or just a drive-by?
No, a site visit.
Okay, that's cool.
We would welcome that, Mr. Chairman.
Okay,
I'm happy to come down with the drawings and walk you through where things are in the lot and so on as well, if you like.
That would be outstanding. I appreciate that. We can make very good use of a 1-month continuance in that kind of way if the applicants are able to mesh with us that fashion. Erica, does that sound arrangeable from a staff point of view? We have to be careful to not accidentally create a quorum on site.
Well, it's the public meeting law, you have to be careful about that, you know.
That's exactly right. That's why I'm saying, so it would be more than a visit. It would have to be 2 or 3 small ones, unfortunately, and that's why I want to make sure you guys are up for that. I don't want to.
Well,
you know,
Mr. Chairman, if I may, the open meeting law has certain exceptions to it, and one of them is an on-site visit. And the problem with it is that it does not, if you take advantage of the exception, there can't be any deliberation.
Right.
It's more akin to a view in a court case where a judge goes out and the lawyers simply point out things to the judge and there is no dialogue and no determinations.
We're aware of that and do that.
Yeah, well, the other alternative, and you can explore this, is that you post the meeting. And then there is no constraint of commission members actually talking to each other. You can't make a decision there.
No, but that's correct too.
So either way, most people do it the first way, which is under the exemption, and you don't deliberate there, and you don't have determinations there, and we can point out. But it is public, and others can walk around, and we'll ask and recommend to the applicants that they allow all of you and others on the site that day. I mean, that is something that we've got to get their permission for, and I haven't discussed that with them.
No, of course, and I appreciate all of that. Thank you for your comments. I mean, you're absolutely spot on, and I know that we've typically erred on the super safe side by scheduling many meetings just so we don't accidentally step over the line.
And that's fine if you're accustomed to doing it that way. We're happy to have a series of smaller meetings, and that's fine as well.
Well, we can figure that detail out separately. We don't have to do that right this minute, but I wanted to be sure that you at least heard what our thinking has been. If a continuance is acceptable and you wouldn't mind.
What date are we talking about? Because I want to make sure Patrick is available.
Erica, March 18th is our next hearing, correct?
18th at 5 o'clock, Patrick?
4 o'clock.
I think I'm gonna be in Utah.
But can you join us remotely?
Yeah, I could, yeah, what day is that again? March?
It is
March
Tuesday,
18th at
March
4 o'clock.
18th, 4 o'clock via Zoom.
Right. And Eric, I see a hand up from the public, and I want to make sure that you recognize.
Yep, it looks like Cynthia Floyd would like to make a comment. Cynthia?
Yes, so our property, which was actually built in 1790, and it's not one of the big houses around there, but we share probably 2/3 of our side yard with what is the backyard of this project. I would like to be able to find out what exactly they are putting in, because the garage, which you're saying you're taking down, is on the property line. So you can't come back into our property line even more. Where is the garage then going?
But these are the things you decide when you. This is why you should have a meeting with the owner and Patrick, the architect.
Okay, that's fine. I just, when we come, and if we can come to the site, hopefully we can have some suggestions with the architect. Okay, that's all.
But just so she doesn't leave without that question answered, she's right. The garage is right back. It is non-conforming. It's right up against the back property line. We're removing it, and the new buildings meet the setback of at least 15 feet away from the property line now.
Correct.
But we'll be able to show the neighbors when they come.
That sounds awesome. Cynthia, thank you for speaking up. Michael, thank you for the response to that. That's helpful. I see this as further help.
Site visit, with the board or mini board people?
Right.
When do you think you might want to do that?
We'll do that with Erica.
We'll have staff reach out to you, Patrick. I think it's probably a little too complicated to try and do it right in the middle.
Yeah, no, I agree.
All right, but thank you. I mean, we'll get it. We'll try and do it as conveniently for you guys as we can. Also, it's a big help. to the process to be able to do this.
Just to chime in here, Erica Brown, I can start reaching out to Attorney Ford, Patrick, and the commissioners as soon as tomorrow, and try to figure out days that everybody is available in which we can do this. And obviously, Mike Ford obviously stated he needs to reach out to the homeowners with permission before we set something up.
And similarly, for the record, Erica, I don't know if there's anybody at town that you would feel we should check with, but I'm perfectly amenable to a group site visit, not necessarily needing to publish it and stay within the parameters of no deliberation about this. This is simply a observe and fact find visit, and I'm okay with that. I said that should make it easier to pick a date for people. At least that's my rationale for that.
Of course. It looks like we still do have more public comment. It looks like Franklin Floyd would like to make a comment. If you'd like to unmute yourself.
Yes, thank you very much. I hesitate to follow my bride because she's usually much more succinct than I am. We're both very emotional about this. And if I don't express myself very well, I've only learned about this project a matter of hours ago. And I don't need to repeat everything. Erica, you read my letter very well. I just want to state, Mr. Chairman, that these letters are presented from the heart.
Oh, I believe you.
There's no hostility. Someone mentioned hostility. There's no hostility. We are, as a whole, a very amicable community. And what surprises me is nothing was presented to any of the neighbors until today. And also legal counsel, and that's okay, I get it. It's part of the process. But what we are concerned with and interested in is preserving the historical nature of our community. And I, for one, do not believe that this design follows the mission of the Historical Commission. We saw some pictures of the renderings. If you look at it from the street, it looks as though you've doubled the size with two fairly extensive wings on either side. I've lived on behind this property for 70 years. Change is change, I get it. We haven't changed our house in 7 generations because we are interested and concerned about the historical nature of this community. And again, I personally don't believe that this design meets the definition and the mission of the community. We'd like to work together. We want to be friends. We will be friends. Change is change, but I mean, if you just look at this picture, it looks as though you're doubling the size of this house. And that's not historical. That's not preserving the historic nature. I look forward to working with anybody to come to a mutual win-win. But I don't believe that this design meets that criteria.
Well, you'll have a chance to discuss it. This is a good answer for the moment.
Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, appreciate it, Mr. Floyd. Thank you, sir. Is anybody else wishing to speak? I realize there are a few other visitors here in the room, and I don't want to not notice anybody.
I have another meeting coming up, so.
Yeah, so I think we should move along to motions if it's acceptable to have a continuance until the March hearing. I would entertain a motion to that extent.
I'll do that. Nancy Shoemaker, I move that we continue this project and the discussion of it for 1 month and have them, if the owners are agreeable, and they seem to be, to March 18th, which is also a Tuesday at 4 p.m.
Great. Could I have a second on that, please? Barbara, you're muted, but you were seconding it, I think. Yes. Thank you, Barbara. All righty. Nancy Shoemaker on the motion?
Aye.
Jack Kay?
Aye.
Thank you. Barbara DiBiase?
Aye.
John Richmond?
Aye.
Thank you. Robert Frazee? Aye. So the motion carries, and we will be continuing this till the March 18th date and working on a site visit in the interim time. And I appreciate everybody's hanging in there on this. It's complicated and it's important, and I think we all recognize that. I do want to compliment the architect and the applicants on their diligent homework, at least insofar as the design elements and reaching out to Sarah Korjeff and having a lot of information available for us to look at. I think that's very helpful. And I hope that we'll be able to lay some of the concerns from the neighbors to rest in the course of the next month.
I doubt it.
We wish for that, but we'll see.
Mr. Chairman, we look forward to working with the neighbors during the continuance and reporting back to you.
Thank you very much, sir. I seem to have just lost my Zoom connection.
No, you're here.
You're still here.
Yep.
I'm glad I am, but Emerald don't know why.
We see
or how.
you.
Oh, sorry, my screen changed. Maybe I thought I disappeared. All righty. I believe that we are all squared away. That's the last item of importance, huge on today's agenda. I want to just mention that because we had a training session before this, it only covered one or two topics. I've asked staff to please work with me and have something posted on our agendas routinely that will enable us to raise questions or discuss further matters of procedure or have reasons to step out for research with staff assistance in the future so it become a better commission. Some of us are newer at this than others, and all of us can learn something from the changing climate of preservation generally, and we have many new challenges in the Cape and Islands, rising sea level, housing pressure, everything you can think of, and we just need to be better prepared for that. So thank you all. If there's nothing else, I would be happy to entertain a motion to adjourn.
Point of order, Bob, we do have other items on there as well as minutes to approve.
Oh, I beg your pardon. I was hoping that I was wrapping us up quickly because I know everybody wants to get out.
Yeah, we have the Form Bs to address. They were up on Laserfish to review.
Oh.
And further discussion of those.
I honestly didn't see them on the Laserfish, so I apologize. However, did the rest of you have a chance to look at the Form Bs that were posted?
I did not. Sorry.
No.
Okay. Well, you know, shame on me anyway, and I apologize for that too if I missed them. When did those get posted?
Those were posted with the agenda. They're on the agenda.
So I didn't see the link for them, I guess.
That was just today or yesterday.
Okay.
No, that was last week. I sent out the agenda a week advance of the meeting. So that was last week on Tuesday.
Well, I'm, albeit perhaps remiss, I'm not in a great position to vote on something that I haven't observed.
That's fine too. You want to continue the matter until the next meeting?
Move on to the next meeting, but if you want to keep a certain number of them progressing, we can do more of them next meeting if you'd like to. I don't have any objection to that.
Okay, I only had 8 on for this one, so I will reach out to Phil, see if he has some more that I can track down to add.
And in that regard, Phil Odens from Katuitt has prepared a 20-minute presentation for the commission at such time when we may have time on our agenda to hear and observe it. Rather than waiting for another formal training session, I was hoping we might tack it on to the end of a commission hearing, but as today illustrates, some things go along and we continued 2 events today. It may not be next month, so when we reach out to him, we'll explain some of that. But
So that would be Form B training, Bob?
it would be under the heading of Form B training.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, he's an absolute expert, but he's had a lot of time working with them, particularly in the context of Katuitt. He's learning new things about it as well. We seem to be corresponding quite regularly, but I think in general what he's done and his experience there in Katuitt is of interest and educational for the group as part of our public education and commission education process. So.
Kind of continuing piggyback off of the Form Bs on the agenda was the CPC. They had the admin reached out to me concerning South Congregational Church Form E because they have a notice of intent to preserve that cemetery there, but they need an updated Form E. So we had discussed a little bit about the backlog of the Form Bs from Katuitt. I think there were some Marston's Mills and other villages included in those backlog of Form Bs and how we could go about addressing maybe updating those as well because the Form E needs updating too. So we had discussed pursuing maybe the option of pursuing a grant for a consultant. So I just wanted to update you on that from CBC because they are looking at a historical preservation intent, notice of intent for that cemetery.
Which will come from the church, correct?
Yes.
Yes, okay, that makes sense. CPC is a subject that we need to get to eventually also. And I'm not trying to put you on the spot, Barbara, by saying that, because we've talked about it a little bit, but
Right.
we're a little behind trying to get appointees there, and I'm not quite sure how we'll mechanically do it, still being short, but, you know, we'll see.
5 minutes after this meeting, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, just 5. It's been a long afternoon.
No worries, no worries. I don't have your number, so we'll have to figure out how to do that with Erica. But
I have a question.
yes,
Is there any way, could we meet early, like we did for training, to try and deal with some of the Form B backlogs?
Erica, that's more of a you in the back room and Corey and time staff available question, I guess.
Yeah.
Logistically, I can see why, because it gets disentangled from the urgencies of hearings and things, and that's always going to be a bit of a challenge.
Next month might be quite a long meeting too. I do really have to go, so I'm just gonna tell you, I have no historical events, by the way. So,
Thank you, Nancy. Thank you very much.
Bye. Concerning your question, John, it is something that we can explore, maybe perhaps in the future, but we do, so basically, just to give a little bit of context with these Form Bs, especially the Hewitt ones, Elizabeth Jenkins had previously worked with Phil Odens to highlight some very high priority Form Bs to be sent to MHC, and those are the ones that I have right now in my office at 367 Main Street. Most of our Form Bs are still located at 200 Main Street, so I actually need to get a list first and to go over there and find these Form Bs, in which we will need time as staff to do that. So I have no problem reaching out to Phil, getting more of those, his inventory of the ones that I need to locate and proceeding forward with that. But I'd like to still keep doing it in some small chunks first, which could be definitely done during the meeting, because they'll be on the agenda as a regular item. And what I'll be doing is I'll be posting them to the Laserfiche. So make sure that you're just checking out the Laserfiche for the Form Bs folder and reviewing them before the meeting, about a week advance of the meeting. If there's anything you'd like to contribute to those Form Bs during the meeting, let me know. If they look good to you guys, then we can start sending them to MHC. But that's kind of my plan of attack for these. But yeah, first we'll I'll need to go over to 200 Main and locate those forms.
If you need extra hands to help, let me know. I could do that if you run short. It's not,
Okay.
I don't know if it has to be staff or not, but if it doesn't, I know what they look like and I can help with that if you need it.
Appreciate.
A little better.
I think.
I'll try and do my homework better next time.
Yeah, I think other than that, the only other thing on there was Chrysler artifacts on the agenda. That is something I want to keep putting on the agenda each month because that kind of obviously fell off a little bit towards the end of the year last year. We have been working still kind of the same song and dance with Kate and with asset management to work on getting that appraisal. I know Corey had reached out to MHC to see with any processes of other towns that might have had a similar situation. So we're kind of, that's where we are with that. I know it hasn't been any movement, but we are still working on it.
Yeah, I mean, you know me, I'm on the record already at a meeting saying, you know, to me, the value of the assets is pretty unimportant compared with getting them in the hands of people who properly should have them from an educational or historic preservation point of view. I still think that's true. At some point, I'm hoping that the agenda of getting an appraisal formally made will kind of wear off. We'll see. That's just me putting in my unofficial, semi-official 2 cents. But thank you for that, and Corey for reaching out to MHC too, for that matter. I appreciate it. I don't know if they've had experiences like that, you know, in their record or not. It would help if they did, obviously. But okay. Well, thank you. Thank you for reminding there's a page 2 on the back of my agenda as well, with all sorts of good things on it. Are we ready to adjourn, do we believe?
I just have one question, please, a very quick question.
Absolutely.
We're meeting, is next month our last Zoom meeting, and then we are going to, in person again? Is that correct?
Correct, Barbara. Starting in April, we will be back to in-person meetings.
Okay. And has there been any update, as far as any government entity saying that we should continue Zoom, or we could meet in person, or?
I have not been updated on anything like that. Typically, state will reconvene in March to make that determination. So we should hear probably about that towards the middle to end of March. Last year, it was literally the last week of March.
Pretty last minute stuff, usually so far.
Yeah.
It's annoying, but that's the way it is. Good question.
One more point of order before we adjourn is I do have the minutes up for the January meeting. Did anyone review those? I mean, it's very, very quick. Bob had just continued one item, so.
Yeah. They were fine as far as I could see.
Okay.
I have no objection, but I honestly did not see them.
All right. We can either continue them to the next meeting if you feel more comfortable with that, or you can entertain a motion. It is up to you.
It almost sounds like we need one business meeting.
I know, I'm getting that impression too, but, oh, I'm sorry. I zoned, I looked in the wrong place. If the rest of you have read them, I'm perfectly okay, abstaining and letting us vote and pass them. We're way overdue on getting some of those things on the books. Did the rest of you read the minutes? Jack? John, did you get to read the minutes?
Honestly, Bob, no, I did not.
It's okay, I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I'm in the same company then with you.
I would still be, happy to adopt them, but no, I didn't read them.
And Nancy's gone. I'm gonna say I think we should wait.
Table it, yeah.
Okay, table it till next meeting, and I apologize. We can do 2 of them then if you want, or more. You're right, if I do my damn homework and read them first, then we should be able to make pretty quick work of it at the meeting.
It'll probably be 2 for the next meeting, probably this one and the last one.
Okay.
But I don't want to bog you down with too many minutes, especially with these Form Bs. So we'll try to split it up as best as we can.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that, and for your patience and diligence. Any more points of order?
No, I'm all set. You can adjourn.
Bob, just a quick conversation, can we stay on the Zoom?
I don't think we can have a quick conversation on a Zoom. It's a public.
Just you and
I don't think we can.
Unfortunately not, no, communications will be, stopping the recording, and then they will kick us out of the meeting.
Barbara, if you will email me your phone number, I will call you right back after the Zoom, because that's the safest, secure way to do it.
Okay.
Thank you very much, though. All right, motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Nancy Shoemaker's not here. Cheryl Powell's not here. Jack?
Yes.
Aye. Barbara?
Absolutely.
John?
Yes.
Robert? Yes. We're adjourned.